Hello and welcome to your Crystal Oracle reading for the March 2025 full moon, which is going to be a lunar eclipse, a full lunar eclipse. And when you get a full lunar eclipse, it creates a red tinge on the surface of the moon. You'll see the moon as red, and it's known as a blood moon. Now, our ancestors would have seen that as an omen, not a good one, because of the colour. Actually, it is created by the phenomenon of the sun's rays being, as I understand it, bent as they go through Earth's atmosphere, so that what gets projected onto the moon is a different colour to usual, so you get that reddish colour. It does, to me, signify a time to go inwards, and this full moon lunar eclipse is in the sign of Virgo. So thinking about how our life runs, how we organise our lives, whether we have some habits that are actually getting in our own way, whether we have some old routines that are not that productive anymore. It's a real time for letting go of things that don't work anymore, so that you can streamline your life, get things working more efficiently, put your energy where you really want to put your energy, where it's most productive to put your energy, ready to move forwards. So there's a kind of bookended part to this eclipse. We've got a couple of weeks, and then when we get to the new moon, there will be a partial solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. And Aries is ruled by Mars, and by then we're in sun sign Aries as well. And this is the old start of the year, the Roman start of the year. March was the first month in the Roman calendar, and in zodiac terms it's the start of the zodiac year. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it means it's got a sort of charging forwards energy. So what you do in the next 2 weeks on internal quiet levels, you probably won't be announcing what you're up to, the tweaks you make or big changes you make. When we get past that partial solar eclipse and the new moon in Aries, it feels like we'll be able to make progress, move forward towards your goals, but only if you do that inner work. So you might not see much on the outside over the next couple of weeks, but you might be feeling a lot on the inside. It is a time of potential transformation. Now, we've also got all sorts of other astrology going on, too much to go through here, but the highlights, if you like, or the headlines. Venus is still retrograde. So if you think of Mars and Venus, we've got divine masculine, divine feminine. Divine feminine is in retrograde at the moment, if you like. So looking at our relationships and looking at our feminine image and how we use our feminine energy, really good time from my perspective to look at how we're showing up in the world if you're a woman especially, or how you use your feminine side if you're a man. And looking at that self-image, just check, are you still actually projecting who you are, or are you projecting who you were? So it might be time for a look through that wardrobe, chucking out some stuff that does not actually reflect who you are now. It's old energy from who you were. You've changed. You've been doing inner work. Give that to the charity shop or sell that on an auction site. And let's update that wardrobe, update whatever it is that you feel, that's not me anymore. That's the old me. I'm ready for a new version of me. And the new version of you, it sounds superficial, but it's not, because it's a reflection of who you are on the inside, and it's the inside bit that's really super important. So all you're doing is updating to reflect who you are now. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to take you down to the table. So before we begin, I'm just going to bless the cards with all forms of love, light, healing, so that they may bring through the best and most helpful messages for you. And I'd like to say that this is a reading for the collective. So if there is anything that I say that does not resonate for you, absolutely leave it behind. Don't try to fit the reading to your life if it's not actually resonating. So to help you focus the reading for your own individual circumstances, I'd like you to look at the 3 crystals I've chosen today. We have got here tiger iron, which is a combination of tiger's eye, red jasper and hematite. It's a really beautifully grounding crystal. And then in the center we have a beautiful peachy coloured moonstone heart, and on the end here we have got tiger's eye. Okay, so looking at those 3 crystals, just take a deep breath. And then when you look at the crystals, which one is standing out the most to you? Which one do you feel drawing you the most? Because that will be the part of the reading that's probably going to have more specific relevance for you. Okay. So we're going to start with the, here we are, we're going to start with the first card under the tiger iron. By the way, tiger iron I think is also called Muggle stone in some shops. I don't really like that name. I don't think it suits it particularly, but you might find it labelled like that and that might help you actually discover it. It's a really great stone to have in your collection. Anyway, right, so this is my Thoth tarot card of the day, and I've brought it in to the reading for you. I drew it this morning and I thought, okay, that is so relevant for the energies right now. We have the Emperor, and you can see on the Emperor card that you have got rams over his shoulders, and you have got a little lamb here, and you've got a ram's head on his staff as well. And all of that is denoting his connection with Aries energy. And if you're in any doubt, there's the sign of Aries down here as well in the title. So here we have the ruler, if you like, the divine masculine personified. And he is a symbol of power, of orderliness, of the right to rule his life, his domain. And I think he's encouraging us to use this time as we head towards the partial solar eclipse in Aries, and use this time to look at our sovereignty over our own lives. How do we rule our own lives? Where are we ruled by others? Which is not always a bad thing, because you can have a good ruler, of course. There are some things we can't change, some things we can, and the wisdom is to know which is which. But where we can, where can we actually have some control in our own lives and take on responsibility for our own lives? Because quite often people will play the victim, and I'm not saying that doesn't happen in people's lives, of course it does sometimes. However, sometimes we allow a situation to carry on where we could stand up for ourselves, where we could be more assertive, or where we could take ourselves out of a situation that isn't good for us. So you're the one that knows about that for you, whether that applies to you. Looking at this card for me, it is saying, okay, come on, assert yourself over your life. You have all sorts of things to present to the world, and now is the time to really do that. So for me, it's saying show up. When we get to this end of this slightly inward looking phase over the next couple of weeks, you step into power and showing up more with all the wealth of information and knowledge that you've already gained. So that was a message that came through personally for me, but it might apply to you as well. Okay, so there we are. There's the Emperor card, and that was with Tiger Iron. So I'm just going to have a look. This is my Sacred Circle Oracle tarot deck. Let's just move those over a bit and give these a little shuffle for you. So I'm asking for the best guidance around this full moon lunar eclipse and extending into the next couple of weeks as we're in between the lunar and solar eclipses. What do we need to know? Okay, right, oh, that's very nice. Right, I'm cutting to the Ace of Discs. So, which for most of us that would be very good news, because Ace of Discs, the root of all the discs in that suit, and or pentacles, you might have pentacles if you've got tarot, but the key word here is abundance. It's looking for the wealth. I think I mentioned that in the Emperor card, looking at the abundance of knowledge, skills and wisdom that you've accrued over your time working on yourself, learning, looking at how you then use that, not in a selfish way, but in a way that is just and appropriate and helpful for others as well. But the side effect of using your energy like that is abundance will also flow to you. So it flows two ways. Okay, so very good. Goes with the Emperor. Let's have a look. Aha. Okay, we have the Death card. We have Reflection and Husbandry. Right, okay, Knight of Discs. Perfect. Okay, so this all goes with the same message. So we'll bear that Ace of Discs in mind. Right, Death card. As I was saying to you in the introduction, we need to look at what we need to let go of. To get new growth, generally speaking, you need to end a cycle somewhere else. So if you've been telling yourself old stories, you've been talking to yourself about old limitations, about why you can't, and you've convinced yourself, you know, a lot of the time, that sometimes limitations are real, but quite a lot of the time we tell ourselves a story which creates a limitation in our lives, because most of the creation of our lives comes from the inside, not the outside circumstances. So where do you need to let go? Where do you need to actually say that's the end of the cycle, I'm done? And now we might be talking about big long cycles. At the moment the astrology is big, so this isn't necessarily just something small from now. This could be something stretching all the way back. It might be time to let go of something that's actually been blocking you for a very long time. So, and it might even be past life stuff as well. It's an old story and it's time to let that go. On a more day-to-day level, it might be getting rid of the clothes with moth holes in, or the clutter and those kinds of things. So you can reflect it in your daily life by actually just doing a bit of a look around and saying, okay, I don't use that anymore, I don't love it anymore, and it's in the way. Time to donate it to a charity shop, or if it's really beyond use, time to actually let go of that with thanks, with gratefulness for what pleasure it might have given you in the past, but you don't have to keep everything you've ever owned. So there's a letting go there, which is perfect for this period of time between eclipses. And then another perfect card, and these really just tell the same story that I gave you in the introduction, which obviously is nice for me to see, because I'm getting, okay, yeah, that was spot on. So we've got the Page of Cups. Keyword is reflection. We've got on the image, you've got this young man kneeling down by a pool of water with the salmon leaping. Now the salmon in Celtic lore is the salmon of wisdom, and this is about wisdom. So it's going back to, what have you learned? You may be letting go of old stuff, but you probably learned something from those old lessons, the old cycle. You probably have learned something. So you're not letting go of what you've learned, you're not letting go of experience and knowledge, but you are going to reflect on those lessons and say, okay, what's actually going to be helpful for me as I move forward? So it's a big sorting out period. This next 2 weeks, if you can carve out a bit of contemplative time for yourself, it's a really good time to go deep. Think about your life overall, think about the whole picture of your life, reflect on it, and sort through, what do you want to carry forward and what do you want to release. And the astrology will support you with that. And sometimes when we hold on to stuff that we know isn't good for us, and it really isn't good for us, and it's time, it will get taken anyway. So, you know, sometimes we resist change and we find the change is thrust upon us. So it's better really to flow gracefully with change and allow for the fact that change does need to happen. Everybody's life has periods of change. So, husbandry, Knight of Discs, here we are. We've got the connection here with our Ace of Discs, and we've got the connection with the Emperor. So, wise use of masculine energy, how you work with money, how you look after money, how you manage money, how you make money, how you use your power in the world. It's not just money with discs, it's physical, material realm, how you show up in the world, how you step into your divine masculine. Now, I'm a woman, you probably realise this, and I am personally, I'm more comfortable with the divine feminine. I've done lots of work with goddess energies and the divine feminine. Divine masculine, not so much. I have done some. So for me, I'm seeing a bringing it into balance, doing a bit more work with the divine masculine, because we've all got both going on in us. We've all got masculine and feminine energies going on in us. So looking at these more masculine attributes that power you forwards in your life, in your world. And he has got a sword drawn, but I don't see him as going into battle unnecessarily. He would use that, I think, defensively if he had to. So it's not going and picking fights, and that might be worth mentioning, because as we go into the sign of Aries, it's quite a fiery energy. People can get a little bit more excitable under Aries influence. He is equipped, he's got his shield, he's got his sword, but he doesn't look like he's going to march into battle to me. That's a protective weapon in my sight. Okay, so he will stand up for himself if he needs to. He'll stand up for his loved ones if he needs to, but he's not going to go and pick a fight. So just bear that in mind. It might or might not be relevant for you in your life. Okay, so far all kind of gelling together and looking like what the astrology says. Now we're going to close up with the angel script. Those, by the way, were under the Those, by the way, were under the Moonstone Heart, if you didn't catch sight of that. And this angel script is under the Tiger's Eye. So 2 out of the 3 crystals I chose to look after the cards are grounding and protective crystals. And just worth saying that to you before I start looking at the angel script. As we are going through this eclipse season, you may feel your grounding, your connection to Mother Earth is a bit shakier than usual, that you feel a little bit wobbled by the stronger energies that are happening. So just put your roots down deeper. There is a video on my channel that helps you put your grounding roots down. So you could go and have a look at that and do that exercise, but you can hold grounding crystals, you can carry grounding crystals with you to help you stay grounded. So this is the Tiger's Eye with the Angel script. These are by Theolin Cortons, and they're quite unusual. They're letters of light, I think is the best way to describe these, and some archangels as well. So let's see what we get for this reading. Let's see. Okay. Oh, now that's quite nice to see, because we've talked about how much change is likely to be happening, and we've got, I don't know if it's pay or pay, I think, but the key word is stability, and you can see we've got this cross that's very even and balanced, and it's exactly what you want the something like Tiger's Eye. In fact, actually, that is one of the key words for Tiger's Eye, is stability by synchronicity. That's one of the key words I would use for Tiger's Eye, helping us to keep our footing in changing times. So I will read from Theolin's book for this one. Now this is absolutely totally perfect for what I've just said about the astrology, and you couldn't really pick a better card for this. The angel wisdom is, this is a time to evaluate the basic structures on which your life is being built. Remove anything from your life which is not sound. So there we are, we've got the death card telling us to do that. We've got the Page of Cups telling us to reflect and think about it, evaluate it. Put a framework into place in which you can build for the future. So there we are. There's the Emperor, getting things organised for us, getting things solid. Then we've got the Knight of Discs organising factor there as well. So put a framework into place on which you can build for the future. You must examine how you use your time and the principles on which you base your decisions in life. Then you can create a powerful future. Okay, well, I think that really did reinforce everything that has been said. It's an excellent time for evaluating, for sorting, for restructuring anything that needs restructuring, so that you can move forward on that sound basis. And I'm just going to finish off with one of my own little touchstones cards. These are little crystal cards, little touchstones. Just to finish off, we will have this one here. Oh, there we are. I think we've got it in triplicate. We have got smoky quartz, release. I let go of outdated energy. So I think we've got a fairly coherent message for all of us today. Let's look at what can be let go of, so that you're creating a clearer future. And those things, they may be physical, emotional, mental, old stories, whatever layer you need to do, you're releasing on. Evaluate things. Do these things that's holding on to this stuff make you feel empowered or disempowered? Does it make you feel happy? Does it make you feel sad? How does the stuff that you've got going on, whether it's physical or energetic, how does it contribute to your life? Because there's very little in our lives that's actually neutral. Most things will be adding or taking away from, or, you know, vibrant or stagnant. And if you're interested in learning more about clutter clearing, I actually started my journey, oh gosh, it's probably coming up to 30 years ago now, by starting to understand the effect of stuff in our lives, and how clutter clearing, just literally getting rid of some old clutter, can actually free up our energy. So if you want to do some clutter clearing and you want someone to metaphorically hold your hand with it because you find it difficult, you could make an appointment with me. And I have had a few people ask for a clutter clearing online workshop day, which I may be putting on in the future. I'm not quite ready to do that one yet, but if you're interested, please join my newsletter list and let me know that you would like that. And there's a link to my website in the description below. And also, just to say to you, I will be running a tarot day for beginners and improvers. So it's not for those of you who've been reading tarot for years and years, you probably don't need it. But for those of you that are interested in tarot, but really just want to get a little bit more confident with it and looking into the cards and actually getting feedback and guidance from the cards, it could be a day for you, and that will happen over Zoom. Again, you need to be on my newsletter list to get the invite to that day. So with that, I'm going to love you and leave you. I wish you all sorts of interesting insights and useful and productive work over the next couple of weeks. Use your discernment and you will come through the other side of the eclipse season feeling fresher and more dynamic and more powerful within our own lives. And that's my wish for you and for me.